Yud Zayin. We're starting Tezayin Amid Beis, right? We're saying Tezayin Amid Beis, Hakol Sheichten Uloilim Sheichten. The Gemara, right, on the bottom, about 10 lines from the bottom, Hakol Sheichten Uloilim Sheichten. Sogt the Heilige Gemara. Hakol Sheichten. Yeah, the Mishnah says Hakol Sheichten, Uloilim Sheichten, Ubako Sheichten. That's what the Mishnah fears us. So the shaila is, what is it coming to be marba? And that's what the Gemara is going to discuss. The Gemara is going to say, we're going to see three pshatim in the Lo'olim Sheichten, right? So first off, the Gemara Hakol Sheichten. Hakol Sheichten means Hakol b'shchita. It's referring to that everything has a chiyuv of shchita, meaning we're talking about the animal, the nishchat. The animal, everything needs, not only animals need shchita, but ovafilu oif. Even though it doesn't say mefor shchita oif in the Torah, but still the Mishnah is paskening that what yesh shchita, that oif is also needs shchita. Vafilu oif. Yeah, we're going to see much more about shchitas oif. We'll see Be'ez Hashem at the beginning of Elu Trefis. Lo oilam sheichten, and this is going to be the Gemara. Lo oilam sheichten. Zok the Gemara man taneh. The time. Okay, so now it's kedai to shtozel up and to just be mesader exactly the machloikis Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva to understand these two pshatim in the pshat of Rabbah and the pshat of Rabbi Yosef and what the lo'ilim sheichten is. There's a pasuk that says like this. Yeah, we have it on the side of the Gemara. The pasuk says like this. Let me see if they have it here. Oh, here's a pasuk. The pasuk says, "Ki yirchak mimcha hamokim." Yeah, it's a pasuk in Devarim. It says, "Ki yirchak mimcha hamokim." You're gonna get far away from now. You're in the midbar, and you can't, and you can bring everything into the Mishkan. We'll see exactly what it means. Ki yirchak mimcha hamokim, mashiyivcha Hashem alekecha, losam shmoi sham, v'zavachta mibkarecha, mibkarcha mitzomcha asher nasan Hashem l'cha, kasher tzidisicha, v'yachalta b'sharecha, b'chol avas nafshecha. Yeah. So here is the here's one pasuk, and the next pasuk says, and the pasuk afterwards says, um ach kashe yoichel es atzvi v'sa'ayo ken techlenu atam v'ator yachtu v'yechlenu. That is the pasuk, right? That's pasuk Dvarim Yud Beis Chav Beis, and before that was Dvarim Yud Beis Chav Aleph, right? So it says. Yeah, b'chol avas nafshecha, right? B'chol avas nafshecha. This is the concept of basa taiva. We'll see in a second. Okay, so obviously the Torah is clearly saying that there's going to be something's going to change. Something of Klal Yisrael, something of Klal Yisrael's status is going to change from when it was in the Mishkan until when they go into Eretz Yisrael. So the question is, what changed? That's the question, right? So we're going to see very, very clear that it's going to be a machlokes, Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva. Mamish minak klotz ala klotz, it seems like. That means like this. Rabbi Kiva is going to hold that in the Mishkan it was Hota Lahem Pasa Nechira, which means that Klal Yisrael had no chiyuv to get a proper shaychit. Basa Nechira was also good. Now, this is very, very important. We're going to see later on. Basa Nechira means that you cut, that you slit open. We could have a picture of it. Nechira means you slit open the animal, or for the simanim, where you slit it from the nose all the way down to the chest. Yeah. Um, we have a picture of a nechira. Yeah, we'll see in a second. We'll see what here. Here's a picture of nechira. This is going to be a nechira. Here's a nechira. Yeah, right here's a nechira. The sheikhet is slitting open the simanim. He's slitting open the simanim, but he's slitting it open, and that's mutter. That was Zakar B'Kiva that the midbaz hutla and basa nechira. So what happened when they came into Eretz Yisrael? It was Nasar Lahem Nechira. So what happened that they were right now, they were introduced to the Chiyuv of Chita. And we're going to see the Gemara is going to discuss. We checked it before, that was only Kabbanis. That's going to be better the Gemara. Yeah? Like Rabbi Shmuel, Fakir. It's fakir, right? But look, Rabbi Shmuel's fakir. That the olam in the Mishkan in not only was basa nechira also obviously Klal Yisrael always was muzar on shchita and everything is in avela. It's everything's in avela if you didn't do a proper shchita right away from Matan Torah. So what's the change? What's the change in status from the Mishkan to Eretz Yisrael? So Rabbi Shmuel it's fakir. Since Klal Yisrael was close to the midbar, since they were close to the Mishkan, since they were close to the Mishkan, so the Torah said that you must bring every single thing. If you want to eat meat, you must eat you must bring it as a shlam and you must bring it as a carbon in the Mishkan. But you can be far away and you don't have the ability to bring for every hamburger and frank to go bring into bring to the base of English. So it's lahem basar taiva. That's the lashon. That's the lashon of that's Rabbi Shmuel. So later Rabbi Shmuel, right? And so they had no heter of basa taiva b'shas when they were in the Mishkan. It was hotel and basa taiva once they came into Eretz Yisrael. That is the machlokes Rabbi Kiva and Rabbi Shmuel. And I just want to go one more step out just to say the svara of the zach. So it comes out a drastic nafkamina. Pashit, maybe in understanding what we're doing with shchita. Pashit, like Rabbi Shmuel, it's very understood. Shchita was always shchita, and obviously it's also to eat something that's not kishachtin. That always was like that. So and so what's the difference? What's the difference in between during the Mishkan and Eretz Yisrael? Very simple. The Eibishter wants that we should bring it as karbanis. They want it. Not only should we eat, we should. The Eibishter wants that we should be making the karbanis at least touch bring the emurim on the mizbeach. But when it's so total and basa type. Yeah, very mistaber the chilik and what changed. All right, what exactly changed? But our understanding of shchita did not change from shchitas Rabbi Shmuel. Right? That what that shchita the Eibushter always asked something that was not keshachtin with all the simanim, right? But later Bekiva in the midbar is hotel and bas and achira, right? So the Torah doesn't have an aversion for something that was not right. Klal Yisrael is not somewhat allergic to something that was not keshachtin. That's not the reason. None of us, when Klal Yisrael comes into Eretz Yisrael, so all of a sudden now you have to shech. What's the word? It would seem, and there's a mashmois in Rashi like that. It would seem that like Rebbe Kiva, the din of shchita, at least the reason, is as a zecher of when you're around the Mishkan, when you're around when you're all here. And the pshat is you're all present and you're all by avodah, so you don't need this zeicher. Forget you're going to be bringing karbanis, something you'll be neicher, some stuff on the side, but you bring karbanis, you don't need it. But and you're going to be far away. So what do? We do a shchita for all our for all our animals and push it as a zeicher of kachim. That's what it would seem. Such a kind of a concept. Rashi says later on that no, Rashi says later on that the pasuk says, "Ach kashiyochel satzives ayo kein techlenu hatome v'ator yachtov yechlenu." So Rashi explains, well, Rebbe Kiva, what does it mean? Akshav tzvi שאף על פי שאני מטעינן חיטה לחולין, משתכנסו לארץ, כקודשים של עכשיו, אין צריכים לאכול בתיירס הקודש, אלא כצביקה היו של עכשיו. That even though I am fathering you, to what? Even though I'm fathering you now to do shchita like kachim, but don't worry, you can still eat it betuma. The Torah says the whole reason for shchita, Rabbi Kiva, is something that you have to be like kachim, right? And right, the Torah was mater basa nechira was mutter, and it only became aser now. Okay, that's okay. So now, okay. So Rabbi Kiva it's not hard to understand. It's not hard to understand what the isser is, right? There's no new. We're not introducing a new isser. We're introducing a heter. Bas and achiru is mutter, and then it becomes usher once they come mishnich nesularitz. And right, so what happens is really the isser nevela changed. The isser nevela originally there was the isser nevela that was what that there was the isser nevela there was the isser nevela um what? There was right. Originally, Issa Nevela was as long as if you weren't Noicharit, meaning if you didn't cut it, if you didn't slit the simanim, and eventually, if it changed, you have to do a correct shchita for Issa Nevela. So Rabbi Kiva, we don't have any problems. But the big plunter is like Rabbi Shmuel. What was the Issa Taiva? What's the Issa Basa Taiva? What's the Issa? This is the big problem. So Rashi says they'll pass that the is that vim zok Rashi shein yichon lechol elabas shlam vim hayu oichlim b'lei carbon hayu einchin cups kediksiv they'll pass yeah. This is what Rashi says. Frek Tosfos, what do you mean? Vel Pesach Omer Lehivi is a passage that's talking about Shlutei Chutz. It's talking about Kachim. It's not talking about Basat. That is the big plunter. Yeah. So there's kama pulmusim on the stabru on this shaila. And there are those that want to say that the pshat is it's gufa machloikis or bishma or bikiva gufa on this shaila if the pasuk is talking about on basa taiva is talking about shkutichos. But it's bothered by that the sugyas overall a mashma that is totally in. It's totally in that the pasuk is talking about shkutichos. It seems like that's muskum bifiko. But I do want to make two quick aras. One ara is that if you look in the Ramban in Chumash, and the Chumash, he munches through the pshatava of the psukim, and the Ramban insists that the simple reading is like Rabbi Shmuel. The simple reading is that the pasuk is not talking about kachim, but afterwards introduces kachim. But the simple reading is about talking about basa taiva. That's ha'ara aleph, and ha'ara beis is like this. I mean, there are others that say something to enze, but I don't know if anybody says mamush beforish. The pasuk says Vel Pesach Oil Moed Lo Hevia, which means that you know what's also something that you were supposed to bring to the Oil Moed. You didn't bring. So Avada, now that is it's Hotelam Basa Taiva. So obviously this is only kachim that were El Pesach Lehevi. But when it's Enes Elahem Basa Taiva, so every single carbon is belongs by the oil moed. So Mamela the is El Pesach Lehevi. The pasuk is Vel Pesach Lehevi. Whatever belongs to be brought to El Pesach Lehevi, and it wasn't brought, it should be Nesa. That's what Lefura. That's what would be very mistabidik in Rashi. Okay, good, fine. That's what we'll say so far for this Gemara. Something more right. Yes, so we have a machlokes. Oh, so Rabbi wants to say that our Mishnah says that the oilam shoichtin that is always a hat of shita. Man tana amar Rabbi Smoli Tanya ki yachiv Hashem alekecha es kevolcha kasha di beloch ve'amarta oikla basar. Yeah. Oichla basar. Yeah, once it was here's the once 1 second, the lashon of the pasuk. 1 second, let me see. This is the pasuk before that. This is the lashon of basa taiva. I before was reading the psukim of Aleph and Chav Beis, but here's pasuk Chav, which is the important pasuk. This is hotel basa taiva. Yep, the lashon of Rabbi Shmuel. Yeah. Rabbi Shmuel loy melei ba akasav la hatlan basa taiva shemitchila nasa la basa taiva because originally it was nasa la basa taiva. We can the sulara total la basa taiva. So Mela what? So Mela was only get found Mishnah. Ta'akshav shegalu. Now the Klal Yisrael in Gulus. So maybe Yachol Yachzeru Leisuran Harishon. I would think that maybe the Isser it reverts back to the old Isser of what of that Basa Taiva's Nesala. Shaninu Loilam Shechtim. Yeah, that's the now. But yeah, that's the That is the Gemara. Ask Rav Yosef, Hi lo'ilam sheichtim v'oichlim mibayalei. Meaning like this. It's true. It's true that when there's a itza taiva, when there's a issa of basa taiva, so it's true that obviously there's a issa to shecht, because everywhere if you're not shechting in the base of Mikdash, it's a shchutech. So it's true that there's a chiddush in the oilam sheichtim. But since the source of the lo'ilam sheichtim, I'm saying over Rashi Red Zois, but since the source of the issa of the shech bachutz is about the eating the het of basa taiva, it's not meduik in the Mishnah to just say lo'ilam sheichtim. Lo'ilam sheichtim v'oich. You can always eat shech and eat, but not just lo'ilam sheichtim is beside the point. It's not mistaber. It sounds like it's a psachidish that I'm allowed to something about shchita itself. Not that there's a halacha that comes about shchita that really comes that source is about the achila. Void. And Rabbi Yosef asked another kasha on Rabbi's pshat. Mei karamai tai meitzer mishum dehava mekevile mishkan. Why was it usher? Why was basa taiva usher in the mishkan? Because they were close by. No problem. Why should you go? Why should you go eat basa taiva and just eat your frank without bringing a carbon? You might as well bring a shlomim, and then you'll have your shish kebab. Oops, right? Oops, my time ishtu. And why was it hota once they came into Eretz Yisrael? Mishkan is mamish mefurish that you're too far away, and memela the Torah was matur basa taiba. So frek the Gemara, so frek Rabbi Yosef, v'kolshkein hashka. And now that Achiku Lutvei was so far away, Rahman al we don't have the Mishkan Savad, it should be Hotelam Basa Taiba. That's Rabbi Yosef's kasha on Rabbi's pshat in Rabbi Shmuel. Tosis asks a kasha. Tosis asks a kasha that that there is. He's misupik in a girsa, but there is a girsa that Rabbi Shmuel holds that that lokitchel asalavai, and a mela it's hutru abamas. So mela if it's hutru abamas, so there should be a taina of what of it's very gishmak why it would be nesa lahem basataiva. Because why? Because why do you have to eat basataiva? Go bring your bum and your background backyard mizvech over here and then bring a carbon. So that's place with the cash. But okay, something more right. It could be maybe that's what maybe that's what Rabba holds. Yeah, Rabbi asked this kasha, maybe yeah, okay. Something more right.
Bossa should be also.
What did you say?
All bosses should be also without shaking.
Without shchita, without carbon. All basa taiva should be also unless you bring it as a carbon. Yeah. Zok Gemara, yeah. Zok Gemara, Elo Amar Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Kiva. Zok Rabbi Yosef, Elo Amar Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Kiva. Yeah. That what? The Tanya, the Faket. That what? That was Nesa Lambos and Echira. Right? I mean, it was Hot Lambos and Echira. And then they came into Eretz Yisrael and they was Nesa Lambos and Echira. So Shaila is maybe to revert back. The Tanya, Ki Yichak Muchama Kamashiv Karashem Elikech Olosum Shmoy Shvam. This is a Vachto. Over here, the Torah says, introduces the Indian of his Avachtim Karachom Tzonka. Kiva Im Eliba Kosmel Asa Lahem. Basa nechira shebetchila hota lahem basa nechira, because originally hota nechira basa nechira was morta. Mishneklu solaris nesla basa nechira. Achshav shegalu yachal yachzeru leteiron harishon. Yeah, so it's very the Torah says the Torah has to say you still have to do shchita. No. There's no nechira business over here. When nechira is out, it's outlawed since we went into Eretz Yisrael. Now I hold that there's a moedig pshatava de gestel over here that I want to get to later on, maybe a teretz later on. A pashta pshatava de gestel. Why did Rabbi say this? Such a geshmak pshat. We have a machlokes Rabbi Shmuel or Rabbi Kiva, right? We have a machlokes Rabbi Shmuel or Rabbi Kiva, and Rabbi Kiva says that it was hotla and basa nechira, and now is nesar, right? So there will be a havamina that no, that you have to that you don't need shchita, right? That you can go revert back to nechira. And Rabbi Shmuel said, "Okay, it was nesla and basa taiva, and now was and it was nesla and basa taiva, and the question is maybe the basa taiva is going to revert back." Why didn't Rabbi say Rabbi Yosef's pshat? Rabbi Yosef's pshat is such a geshmaker pshat. It's mamish a beautiful pshat. It was the nechira was mutter in the Mishkan, and now it became aser in Eretz Yisrael. It became aser. The question is, do you have to? Are we reverting back to that? I think this is a pshatov. I think it should tell that needs to be addressed. I didn't see anybody else's shaila. Okay, yeah, good, right? Yeah, we'll get to it in a second. Zok the Gemara. Zok the Gemara b'may kamei fliki. Rabbi Kiva saw a basa taiva liyitza klal. Rabbi Kiva saw a basa taiva liyitza klal. That what? That there was never an issa for basa taiva. Basa taiva, even in the Mishkan, was all mutter. Not only that, you were able to take a basa nechira. Rabbi Shmuel saw the basa nechira liyishtri klal. There was no such a thing as ever eating something that was not kishachtin as at all. Now Tosfos discusses. I'm just going to throw this out there. We don't have time to go through it. Tosfos discusses a tzad, and this is a tzad in all the Rishonim and Achronim. Maybe Rabbi Kiva and Rabbi Shmuel are not arguing, and maybe you could somehow be miyashiv that they're both talking that it's both true. That Sai Bas and Nechira was mutter, and Sai and Sai Rabbi Shmuel's halacha is mutter. The places discusses how do we know that, and Lamaisa there's a Rambam that's very, very difficult. The Lashon of the Rambam is shver to understand exactly. He seems to be Pesach Hashtei Seifim. We're not going to go weiter. We're not going to be back. So the Gemara weiter. Bishlam Rabbi Shmuel. It's not the Gemara asks a few pshat questions, and the Machlekes Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Kiva. Bishlam Rabbi Shmuel Hainu D'chsev V'Shachar Ben Abaka. Right. So we alluded to this question already before. Later Rabbi Shmuel. That it is going to be a kasha on Kiva. Bishlam the Rabbi Shmuel Hainu D'chsev V'Shachar Ben Abaka. The Torah says in the beginning of Vayikra that we're shechting, so it's very good. Later Rabbi Shmuel, everything had to be b'shchita. There's no such thing as nechira. It's very good. V'Shachar Ben Abaka. El Rabbi Kiva Mai V'Shachat. What's going on over here? V'Shachat. What do you mean V'Shachat? I thought nechira in the Mishkan. Kachim Shani. Avada even Kachim Kachim always had shchita. The Kiddush was that non-Kachim Chulin stuff was benechira in the midbar. Yeah, Kachim Shani. Zakti Mon Bishlam Rabbi Shmuel. Another Kachim Rabbi Kiva. Bishlam Rabbi Shmuel. Hainu D'chsev Hatzayin V'Abaka Yishachet Lehem. El Rabbi Kiva. Mayatzayin Ubaka Yishachet Lehem. What's the lashon of Yishachet Lehem? Right. This is the wisdom of Moshe Rabbeinu says. What am I going to do over here? I'm going to start shechting for them. Tzayin Ubaka. Where am I getting all this stuff from? And he said to use the lashon of Yishachet Lehem. So what do you mean Yishachet Lehem? I thought nothing shchita. We're doing nechira. I thought that we're in the nechira stage in the midbar. Right. So after the Gemara, yeah. El Reb Kiva Maya Tzay V'Abak Yishachet Lehem Yinochel Lehem Iboyle. And for the Gemara, nechira shelahem zuhi shchita. That what?
Super
What? I don't know if it's a super lumdus or whatever it is. It's just a language issue. It's just a language issue. That shchita means slaughtering it in a slaughtering an animal in its proper fashion, in its kosher fashion. That's called yishachim, right? That's what shchita means. And so, in other words, the shchita changed. So originally, shchita just entailed cutting the samanim, however you're going to do it, and now it has a much more process. So I want a taina. So I want to use it to the teretz of the kak that we asked before. Why didn't Rabba want to say a pashto pshat that our mission is going like Rabbi Kiva, so much geshmaka than Rabbi Yosef's pshat? I mean, so much geshmaka than his own pshat. Why did he say that it's Rabbi Shmuel? Just say it's Rabbi Kiva. Yeah, the teretz is that this is the problem. This the Gemara's teretz is the problem with Rabbi Kiva's pshat. Because later Rabbi Kiva, the Torah itself uses the lashon of shchita for nechira. Right? So you're going to say, our mission is going to say, lo'ilam sheichtim? You always shecht? Of course you always shecht. We were always shechting. We were shechting in the midbar also. Ayu was Aidei Nechira, but that's also called Shechita. So later Rabba's timing that you can't say that our mission is coming to say L'olam Sheichtin, that Bisman Hazeh, you can't use Nechira. Why? Because Shechita doesn't necessarily, the Lashon Shechita doesn't necessarily, it's not Shoyl, the Nechira. The Torah itself calls it Nechira, calls Shechita, Nechira, by Atayim V'Abaka Yishachet Lahem. Right, so Mela, that's why, even though the Gemara is not to Rabba's pshat, but it needs a hezbollah. Yet it's not like Kilu Rabba. It's not like Kilu Rabba wasn't madcha the pshat of Rabbi Kiva. He did the makdish of Shmuel Rabbi Kiva, and Rabbi went and said, "Oh, I'm going to teach the Mishnah like Rabbi Shmuel." There's two of them in front of you. Just take Rabbi Kiva. What was wrong? The Teretz is that he had a problem with Rabbi Kiva's shot. That he held that Loilam Sheikhlim is not mistaf. It's not mashma. Loilam Sheikh is coming lafuke nechira, because nechira it could be referred to as neshchita as well. It is referred to as a shchita even like Rabbi Kiva. Okay, yeah, right. Just like the more right there. Bishlam Rabbi Shmuel had nan. Ha shoyche v'nisnabla b'yadoi. Al shoyche v'nisnabla b'yadoi. So what's nisnabla b'yadei? So here Rashi says agavorcha. Yeah, nisnabla b'yadei means that it became puzzle. Yeah, he wasn't trying to make it a puzzle. He wasn't trying to make it an avela. What happened? He had a pegima sakins like Rashi. Vehanoicher. Noicher is again this case where you cut from the nose to the chest. V'hama aker, and ma'aker is plucking out the simonim. So over here on the side of my Gemara, I have written down a kasha on places in the chat and Rashi. If you remember, there's a whole mucharai what akira is, and Tosis wanted to explain in Rashi that akira what's called the gimasakin. So I'm timing that Rashi over here Akopanim is mashma before it's not like that, because Rashi teaches Hashechev and Nisnabla biyada is gimasakin, and then afterwards it says ma'aker. Says vice versa. It's two different cases. That gimasakin is in lav hainu ma'aker. Okay, that's written down in pencil on the side of my Gemara. I don't know if I saw this somewhere, but whatever it is. Okay, so Gemara right there. Yeah, so was fragt die Gemara, another cash from Kiva. Bishlam Rabbi Shmuel had the Nana Sheikh when it's not the other Van Echva Maker. What the Melechasa is that what that if you did Nechira, you put the Melechasa. There's no Kiva of Nechira of Kisei Adam. Because why? Because this is not where the Torah was. This is not what the Torah was mechayiv when it said v'shafach. Hello, the Rabbi Kiva. Amai potter milachasois. Why are you potter milachasois? Look, they were doing nechira in the midbar, and they were obviously had a chiv of kisei adam. So it should be as a kisei adam on every nechira. What happened? Why did kisei adam change once shita changed? It's like, well, no, it's a that later Rabbi Kiva you're gonna have to say that changed as well once it became. Once 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 Nechiru became Nasar, so then the V'shafach in the V'kisei Adam also changed. The Lashon of V'shafach also changed. Exactly how is how it needs a little bit more of a hezbah. Zok the Gemara. Bishlam Rabbi Kiva. Now we're going to ask a kasha on Rabbi Shmuel. Bishlam Rabbi Kiva Dama Bosatayva. It's a cloud. Rabbi Kiva that says that Bosatayva was not Nesar. It was never Nesar. I need to say Ach Kashi Yoichal. It said Tzvi Vesa Ayo Kain Tachlenu. So now it's very gishmak when the Torah says that you could now you could continue eating. There's not going to be, and Rashi explains what's the Torah saying. What's the Torah? What's the havmi? I shouldn't be able to eat it, right? Very gishmak that Rashi has to explain this because why? Because later Bekiva, I was eating whatever I wanted. Not only was I eating whatever I wanted, I was able to eat it in every fashion almost. I was able to eat it with nechira, right? So what's the kiddush that the Torah is saying that I should be able to eat any animals? So Rashi said I've added the Torah that the emphasis is not in the beginning of the pasuk. Like Rabbi Kiva. The emphasis in the end of the pasuk says, "Ach kashi yochel satzivus ayol kein techlenu atomei v'ator yachtov yochlenu." That even though I'm introducing to you a chita, that from now on you're gonna have to start tracting, but I'm not introducing to you any toma, right? And we explain because the pshat is because shchita that we're introducing to Rabbi Kiva is a zecher of the Mishkan. It's a zecher of the Mikdash, a zecher of avodah and kachim, and therefore one would have thought that you would have to be nizer on Tuma and Tyra as well. Yeah, but that's all Rabbi Kiva. Or Frakti Gemara, El Rabbi Shmuel Tzviva Ayel Gufe mi have a shari. Things a tzviva ayol is what a tzviva ayol was never a carbon, and later Rabbi Shmuel the basa taiva is also. So basa taiva, if basa taiva is also, so if basa taiva is usher and everything has to go into the mizbeach on the mizbeach, and a tzviva ayol can't be on the mizbeach, right? Because it's never so tzviva ayol were never mutter. So what do you mean the Torah is saying now? From now on, you can eat a tzayda baka like you're eating tzviva ayol. Tzviva ayol is usher because the taiva was never mutter. That is the kasha. Now this is one of the kashas, the second kasha that Tosfos asked on Rashi, because here it's very shver. Why the Gemara's havamina that tzviva ayol is going to be usher? There's definitely no vel pesach base of oil moed lehivia and tzviva ayol. Right? What do you mean tzviva ayol vel pesach base of oil moed lehivia? There was no pesach oil moed lehivia. The Torah never wanted us to bring it into the pesach oil moed. Right? So you have to kvetch a little bit, and say that yeah, the Pesach base oil moile hevia is not. It can't be saying that the Torah wants you to bring it to Pesach oil. That's the problem with this. With this, it was yeah. Whatever the pshat is, this is a second. This is a good kasha on Rashi. Okay, so more right. El Rabbi Shmuel tzivayel gufei mi have a shari for the Gemara. Ki aser achman behema dechazi lakrava. Chaya lechazia lakrava aser achmana. Oh, so even Rabbi Shmuel's moida that basa taiva was only nesa something that was what that was available that was available to bring as a carbon. Yeah, yeah. But a chaya that you can't bring as a carbon, so Mela was never nesa in the first place. That is the right. Tzvi and ayol are both ayol. Tzvi ayol. Gazelle. Yeah. Zok the Gemara right. Yeah, it's not an ayol, a ram. It's ayol. Tzvi ayol. Yeah. Okay. Zok the Gemara right. Now here's a very interesting Gemara. Very, very, very jikava interesting Gemara. Why Rabbi Yirmiyah? A very basa nechira. That basa nechira meat that was slaughtered in a very, very in a geisha way. He was slaughtered from nose to what's called. I don't know why they would do that. By the way, I don't know why Basa Nechira doesn't seem like a simpler fashion than just a regular shchita. I mean, shchita seems like the easiest way. But anyway, well, why would somebody do it that way? But anyway. Well, the mice if somebody has a very basa nechira sheikh nisu yisrael limoem looretz. Now, if somebody he brought it in. He still has place. He still has yeah meat that was place that was salted or dried meat. What do they call it? Beef jerkies still of from the nechira that he had in the mishkan site. Shechnisi Solomon Mao. And are you allowed to still eat it? That's the most kasha. Zok Gemara. Was nechira in the mishkan. And now we came with Eretz Yisrael, and now we have to start checking. So what's the story? Yeah, this is the Gemara's Shiloh.
Yeah, so it's also about it.
What?
It's all about the Boston Tree also.
Yeah.
Once it became the Shir in the Mishkan, so that's going to be Martyrs.
Yeah, that's the shadow. Okay, so one second. This this on this. Let's just see the Gemara, and then we'll discuss a rush. This is like required reading of it. Talk the Gemara about Elaim, but talk the Gemara. Elaim b'sheva shekif shu. 1 second, talk the Gemara. Are we talking about the first 7 years while Klal Yisrael was still fighting a war? Hashda davar tamei ikteriluhu. V'tzev ubatim melayim kol tov. Now what? That it's mutter to eat even tarfis. During a war, it's mutter to eat even tarfis. Where? Because it says ubatim melayim kol tov, that you're going to go in and you're going to find batim melayim kol tov. Make it, whatever you want. The Rabbi Yirmiyah Abba Amar Rav, a famous Gemara, Katli the Chaziri, that Klal Yisrael was mutter to come and into the Goyish houses and even eat a side of ham. They were able to eat mamish. Yeah, the Katli the Chaziri, a wall of what's called of Gaza. So frek the Gemara. So what's Rabbi Yirmiyah's stelling over here? So Kali Chaziri. So Basa Nechira mi boy. So obviously Basa Nechira is going to be mutter. It's like Chamika. What it means to declare about La Chamika. Tema lo'olam b'sheva shekivshu. Avada, we're talking about B'Sheva Shekivshu. We're talking about the 7 years of during the right when Klai okay. Sheva Shekivshu. Ki ishteri lahu Klaus of Gecham Ditu lo yishtaru. The heter of Batim Aleim Kol Tov is only a heter for Klal Yisrael's for stuff that they found by the guy, for the guy's food. The guy is katli the chaziri. That was hutar with batim kol tov. But the stuff that they had in their lunch basket, the stuff that they brought along, the stuff, the bas and the chira that they brought along, that was never hutar from batim kol tov. Yeah, ki ishu lu the two lo ishu. And the Ma'aseh, the Gemara says. So there's two massive things that must be discussed in this survey. One thing is talking about Katli the Chaziri, and Katli the Chaziri is Negeya Halacha L'Maisa. I heard a whole share about it. It was Negeya. It's a whole schmooze, right? Because armies have logistics, right? What's logistics? That's how Baruch Hashem the Eibshter made that the Nazis should be destroyed because they couldn't compete with the Allies' logistics. They were able to bring so much food and so much fuel and so much stuff, and they were able to defeat the right. They were able to defeat the Axis in such a way, right? Logistics is an unbelievable thing. That what you have to feed an army, you have to feed and you have to provide for an army. It's very hard when you all of a sudden show up somewhere else. All of a sudden, how are you getting food to them? So nowadays, when you plan a war, so you plan logistics, and they plan who knows how much all about the logistics they plan it. But Amol, and Lamarshal by October 7th, which was a murder. All of a sudden there was a war. Taiso was shocked, and all of a sudden soldiers went running down, and they didn't have what to eat. They didn't have what to eat. The army couldn't catch up with them. So I heard a ganze share from Basha Weiss about the Shiloh. So it's the 2-level shaila. It's a shaila about eating. First of all, the kehilas that were next to them. Some of them were not such from homes, and they would all the from soldiers asked them could they eat there, and then the question is, even once they went into Gaza, which was already a month later, but still the army was backed up. So the Shiloh was this Katli the Chaziri. That was the Shiloh. It was Mamish the Mam. These shmuzim. So he paskined. So I just remember again. Obviously, Katli the Chaziri is not a question of Pekuach Nefesh. If there's Pekuach Nefesh, you can eat whatever you want anywhere. That's Pashut. We're talking about when it's not a Pekuach Nefesh, the Kashayla, right? Obviously. And so he said, the kilos around Gaza, just because you're not, you don't trust over there, eat photo, everything, no shaila. But when it came into Gaza, he had a chilik. I don't remember exactly what a shmuz was. I don't remember the whole shmuz, but it's very, very interesting. What exactly he did have a chilik about certain things that it was being machmer, and I don't remember the shmuzim. But this is mamish negeh. The shaila is, and this Gemara is the shaila. What is the din of Katla de Chaziri? It's a machlokes Rambam and Ramban. Or you soides the machlokes. The Rambam brings down this halacha that it's a logistic shaila. You're going to go to a war and you're not going to have what to eat. And again, you're not sekonos levashos, but you don't have. You're a little hungry. So mamela is hotelahem Katla de Chaziri. But the marshal, the soldiers' kids, or right, his wife and kids, or right, or when he's not hungry, avada, he can eat. Yeah, if he wants whipped cream, avada he can't have a tray for whipped cream because it's only about providing for the soldiers. That's the Rama. Mashenkin the Ramban. The Ramban says no. It's a din in shlal akum. That the pshat is that this is the pasuk says ubatim aleim kol tov. What's the pasuk? The pasuk says ubatim aleim kol tov ashalei milei. So baris chatzuv mashalei chatzaf to kram b'zeis mashalei natata v'yachalta v'savata. The Torah says that you're going to go and you can conquer and you can take whatever you want. And part of it is you can take everything, even the chaziri. Yeah, Frek the Welt that this Gemara is a mafurish raya, not like the Rambam. Why? Because Gemara has the kasha. Rabbi Yomi is clearing about Basa Nechira. That Basa Nechira is in Hotalan once they nichnasu l'Eretz Yisrael. Frek the Gemara. If it's Shavush Shekefshu, who cares? How did the Chazir is Hotalan? Of course, Kapli Chazir is Hotlahem. Kapli Chazir is Hotlahem. Benegea. If they're hungry, it's the Gea, the soldiers. It's the Gea providing logistics. But what does it have to do with? What does it have to do with his wife and kids? What does it have to do with? Yeah, that's the Welt kasha. It's such a bomb kasha because the kasha is even more schwer because the Rambam himself doesn't ask it on the Rambam. Yeah, it's a plea. Yeah, that's kasha number one. So they want to say. Okay, we mamish can't be back. They want to say that that's the takavitaya in the Gemara's two terutzim. When the Gemara says a teretz, first of all, the Gemara is mukim that we're talking about la'achabikan, that Yirmiyah was declaring about dried meat that he saved for more than 7 years. The basa nechira from then all the way later on. That was one teretz, and the second teretz is that ki ishteri luhu shlal shal akum did hu loy ishteri, right? That what was hooked to them only shlal shal akum, but not the right. So they want a taina that the nafkamina these two lashonis is gufa the shayla. Why? Because if it's a shmooze about food, it's a shmooze about providing food. What should make a difference where it came from? What's the svara to say that there should be a difference in if it came from the Goyish kitchen or it came from my kitchen? What's the difference? Faket, we want to provide you. The Torah was matter, even the Goyish kitchen, right? There's no reason there's no svara to say that you should be matir after the Goyish kitchen, not the Hamish kitchen, but the first lashon but the right. So the teretz is like the second lashon that it's takal shalom. It's like al sholol. Al sholol, it makes sense that the pshat is that there's a new hectare of sholol. I'm going to be mad that you should have sholol, but not anything else. But the first lashon is not masking to this. He's going to hold that it is a din in providing logistics, and the Rambam for some reason is passing like the first lashon. That's one teretz that they want to say in this thing. But we have to discuss one more thing. It's like unbelievable, a loaded sugya, and we didn't even get to Amud Beis yet. Let me just the other thing that we must discuss about this Gemara is Rashi. Well, what are we doing over here? Right? Rabbi Yomi Ba'aba is talking about the Chaziri that I'm sorry, he's talking about Basa Nechira Shechnisu Yisrael Imam La'aretz. What's going on over here? What's in again? Why? Yeah, it's very. So it's something that happened 3,000 years ago. Zokt Rashi. Rashi asked the kasha. So Rashi Dreish v'kabel schar. Dreish v'kabel schar who Zok Rashi. Yeah, over here. It's about 7 lines from the wide lines. Dreish v'kabel scharu shetzricha manu lilmud ala emes v'afal pi shekvar obar. That's what Rashi says. Zok the Rosh by files Rashi brings down Rashi. He says, what do you mean? Well, we don't say this on something that's not negei psukim. If it's negei psukim, it's negei teaching a pasuk. Good, but this is mamish. It's irrelevant thing. It's not negei lahalacha. Zok the Rosh, you have to say that it has halacha l'maisa. What's the halacha l'maisa? Zok the Rosh, it's negei whenever somebody is either makabel or neder, and he says that from now on I want to do this and this. Let's place every Monday and Thursday he wants the chveisvos. He's not going to eat. He's not going to eat chveisvos, right? So the question is, or if the kehila makes a takana. So the question is, does that go on the stuff that they already have in the cupboards or not? This shayla, mamish the shayla. So we have a new isser. Does this isser include also the stuff that's in that we already have, or is the Isser only Mikana Labo what you buy from now on? And I heard there are achronim that still suit to this. The achronim that still suit to this, but again, eating your fleishiks that are left over from Shabbos to the 9 days. So this we're telling you this Gemara. Yeah. But this is achronim. Serious. This is serious. Shmuz. Right here. I'm just telling you. The Mesivta they bring down, it's a serious shmuz, and I didn't have time to go through all the things, but I would just have to go through one knech. Now, the Gedolei Achronim are very bothered by this, and there's a very, very, very serious digga Herbal Chanan about this. That it is like this. What happened over here? It wasn't Hutter Nevela before when they were in the what's called it when they were in the midbar, right? Nevela was never Hutter, right? Nervous. What was Hutter? The Torah said Nechira is okay. It's enough to be matter. It's from a Nevela is enough Nechira. But you don't need Shechita. Nechira is okay, right? So what changed now? So what changed was the rules of Shechita. The Kitzah, it used to be called Shechita, now it's called Nechira, right? So Fragrance A, it's Ein Hanidin Doimelaraya. Because the pshat is because this meat was already hotar. This meat was already hotar once yesterday, and now you change the rules of how to do shechita. But who cares? But how did this meat become nesa? When we go up and say from now on, we're going to say Gvinas Akum is also Lamashal. So now, from now on, we're saying that this thing is Gvinas Akum. Fine. Mashenkin, a piece of meat, if it was geshachten correctly, it was geshachten in what was correctly then, it's not a nevela. How does it become a nevela now? Yeah? This is the kasha. Zokt Rebbe Chanan, a blitz, a big lumdis, a chiddush that has to be mentioned. Zakra b'chanan the teretz is vaistois. That it's not the pshat that by basar has a time of becoming an avela, and it all happens b'shas l'shchita yeshecht, and that's it. And from there on, it's good. Don't fakert. You have something that it's geshacht and the shchita stays in the meat all the time. It's geshacht in the flesh. And the pshat is that every second of meat has an ability of turning into a nevela. What? You're not happy with it. Anyway, this is the lumdis. It's the guy for Ben Pakua. We'll see in the sugya later. We'll see. But this is the Rebbeinu Chiddush from this Gemara. So because now the pshat is it was Nasar. The child was about this meat, that this meat is nasa. If this shechita is not okay, so now the question is if it becomes nasa. I just want to say, and I saw that the Noid Yehuda really stelzach on the rush, that the way the rush stelz avek his nafkamina. He said it's talking about in a case where they were misakin for something that's gonna be. Yeah, that's the lashon of the rush. See if I have a second to the really late. But Adam she'asar atzmoi mizman yadua ve'ela. And then I really much as what's the pshat. So I'll tell you the truth. I didn't have a chance to go through. I didn't have a chance. I saw that the Noid Yehuda has this after I want to say this word. So I'm going to say my word even though I didn't have even though I didn't have a chance to go see what the Noid Yehuda has to say about this Rosh. But I want to tie up that's good for what the Rosh is saying. What we're clearing over here is in a specific case. Not if Bezdin comes in and says from now on Gvinas Akum is also. So Gvinas Akum is also. What's the suffix? What does that have to do with what you have in the grocery? Who cares? Well, what would I have it? What's the difference if the Gvinas Akum is in the grocery or it's in my refrigerator? What's the chilik? What are the tzadim and the machlekes? The question is the Gemara is talking about like this when Bezdin says that we're starting this takana today. We're starting this takana in 2 weeks from now. So for the next 2 weeks, the question is, this Gvinas Akum, is it included also for after the deadline? Or no, from the fact that they said that we're not starting until 2 weeks from now, so that means that we're saying everything you bought until 2 weeks from now, and you can eat that forever. But that's the question. Gufa, the question is only when they gave a grace period before. By Pasuk Nechira, where the Eibishter said that it's going to be Nasa, and the Torah told it to us when Klal Yisrael was in the Midbar. It's going to be Nasa. We're going to ask the Bas and the Chira, but for now it's good. So when the Torah says right now it's good and it's going to become Nasa later, what do we mean to be Mata? Are we being Mata that you can't eat it later on no matter what? Or we're saying that from now on you can be Noicha, just you're going to have to stop to be Noicha there, but anything you have until then is going to be good. Yeah, that's why I want to be Miyasha. Miyasha. What? Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's Gemara, and now we're going to go to Stam. Zok the Gemara. My Rabba. So Rabba is not going to be or Rava. It's shouting your says if it's Rava or Rabba, and Rava is going to be masked his whole shot. So in other words, that the Gemara that he's not masking to the whole hensper, and he's going to be masked to the whole shot. It's not going to Rabbi Shmuel, not Rabbi Kiva, a whole different shot. Amar Rabba, Amar Rava. Shani sa hakol shoichtin uloylam shoichtin. We said hakol shoichtin is talking about oifus. Uloylam shoichtin we're talking about nechira or basataiva. Hakol shoichtin my mishan is lay. How are you going to teach the third word that the Mishnah also said that hakol shoichtin you could shecht with everything. Vechi tema that it's going to come to be marba the brisa that we brought down bein bitzor bein besluchis bein bekumi shalkanam that you could share with any kind of material, Taurus, Kuklis, and Krupas Shakon. Oh, I had somebody has a picture. I didn't bring it. That you could what it looks like. What had a shchita knife of a Taurus, Kuklis, and Krupas Shakon. Yeah, for example, Gemara. But Hadomi the Hanach Petani. It would seem that it should be in a uniform form. Right? Hadomi the Hanach Petani. Ihanach b'shoichtin. Hainami b'shoichtin. It's weird. And the skulkas and the kruva shakana is what you're shechting with. We're not talking about the animal that's getting nishchotin. So the bako shoichtin is clearly we're saying it's talking about the skulkas and kruva shakana. So obviously we're talking about the what you're shechting with, and then the nishchotin, and then the first two is talking about the nitzchatim. It's talking about ifos, and it's talking about basa taiva of vihanach b'nitzchatim, hainami b'nitzchatim. So it doesn't seem uniform, and therefore Rava is not happy with that pshat. Amar Rava hakol shoytin. There's two hakol shoytin. Now hakol shoytin daf beis and hakol shoytin over here. So hakol shoytin chadal asui kusim chadal asui Yisrael. Yeah, and we discussed about this Gemara earlier on that Rava seems to, even though one of them was matka, Rava seems to be masking to both pshat. No, so it's all we're all talking about the shoychtim and nothing about the nishchatim. Lo'olam shoychtim is bein b'yom, bein b'layla, bein b'reish gag, bein b'reish svina, and we said because that even though there's a chashash that it looks like it's avoided kechavim, but after became its mutter, and ba'kol shoychtim bein b'tzor bein b'schulkas bein b'kum shokana. Yeah, that's the end of this Gemara. Now comes the sugya about the Chalif, and we didn't get yet an hour. Should we get of begimas? This is mamish. This is begima bikasakin. This is the next couple of lines. This is the what's called. And we're obviously only going. We're just going to go through the sugya. Shitas Rashi. We're not going to go the Rif and the Rambam. They have other pshatim in the Gemara, but we're not going to go through that. Kashmir, the Rosh Grada learns basically the sugya like Rashi. So we're going to go. We're going to go like that. That's going to be the pshat of the Gemara. Sok the Gemara puts me mago kosva magera. Sagt the Gemara, avoid the Shmuel. Hogam v'shodar, hogam v'shodar. He somehow made different begimas in his knife, and he sent them to Eretz Yisrael to know what the psak is. So shol chulei kimagera shaninu. You want to know what it is? It's kimagera. What's a magera? So I think this should be the first illustration. So what's kimagera shaninu? The Magera Shaninu means like this, that it's a pigima, meaning that it has two corners, right? A uketz here and a uketz here, right? This is called, it has it has a corner here and a corner here. So it's a real good pigima. Avi, yeah? That is Kimagera Shaninu, right? That's going to be the Gemara. We're going to see soon that you can have something, and the reason why it's called right, and the way you feel it is when you run your finger up the nail, it gets caught in that thing. Yeah. So the Gemara, Tanarabban, Amid base. Sakin sheyeshba pegimois harbe. A sakin that has a lot of pegimois, tidain kimagera has the halacha like a magera. Magera is like a sword. If it has only one pigima, Then it depends. Igeres means is catched. It catches, meaning that the nail gets stuck. Psula. Misuchseches kishera. If it's misuchseches, meaning that it was filed down, right? It was filed down on one side, so then it's kishera. Yeah. Um. Echidami Igeres, Echidami Misucheches, Amrav Leza, Igeres, Mishnei Ruchos, Misucheches, Miruach Achas. Yeah? So let's just see what we're talking about over here. Let's just see a picture. Here we have an Igeres, right? This is an Igeres, very, very clear, right? What they did was they took a picture, of that started off, it has a little bit of has a tiny pekima over here, and they right, it's a pikima on the knife, and they blew it up to show you that it's a V, right? So this is an Igeris, very, very close. What would be a Mesachseches? Mesachseches would be like this. That the pshat is that I started off with a V, but then he filed down this corner, so now this is rounded off, and this is the only problem is this yeah. So I only have a problem with one ukitz, not the other one. Yeah, I brought along. This is what they have. They have these. This is the phallus, and this is the stones that they use. Taka use the stone to file it down. You know, this is what you use. You use this one, or you use the black one. You use this one. Which one do you use? Okay, whatever. Anyway, Bekitza. So this is what they use, and they taka file it down. Yeah, this is how it goes. Okay. So the Gemara. Okay, good. Yeah, so that's the Gemara. Talk to Gemara. So talk to Gemara that what, and that it was saying that Ageris is psulim, Misukseches is ksheru. So what does it mean Misukseches? Talk to Gemara. Misukseches means that one side was filed down and the other side was not. Fact the Gemara cash like this. Maishna mishnei ruchais. What's the okay? We're gonna say explain it like Rashi. That Rashi understands that the pshat is that if there's two we're only worried about two corners. We're only worried about a V. We're only worried about if you have two corners and not one. Why not? So we're understanding that the pshat is that this is how Rashi learns that the pshat is that when I come to the neck of the animal, the first ukits will not hit the simonim. Why won't it hit the simonim? Because it's busy going through the skin and the meat. So it's not going to get to the simonim. The second one will hit the simonim. So we're only worried about the second one, right? That's the death. Yeah. Let me see if I have a 1 second. If I have a picture of it, he says like this. Yeah. Yeah. Look. You have two corners, right? You have two corners. The first one is gonna go through. He says he calls right. He has the or in the basar. The first one is gonna rip through the or in the basar, and the second one, that's the first one, is gonna hit through the or in the basar, and the second one will already be by the samana, right? So Mamela, that's why the Gemara understands. That's why you have a problem with two corners. That's what the Gemara says. And now the Gemara is going to ask a kasha, that even in your case of the Sukhseches, let's be afraid of the same thing, that the chorf of the sakina, the sharpness of the knife, will cut through the basar and the or. The second one, and by the time I get down to the simanim, I'll already have the motion of the karnasa, and it will already cut the siman. That's going to be the Gemara's kasha, yeah. Yeah, this is the second time when I get to the Morsha. This is the Gemara's kasha that the fourth is Sakina cut through the or in the boss, and the corner is going to hit this. Yeah, that's the Gemara's kasha. So, and I just want to be. We're not going to go into the Rishonim's chat, but the problem with Rashi is, what's the problem with Rashi? That Rashi understands that the reason why two corners is because the reason why a problem of two corners is because one corner is going to cut through the or and the bus, and the second one is going to cut through the samanim. The kasha is that I don't need or and basar. It's 100% kosher animal. If somebody has a chicken or an animal that the skin and the basar was taken off, and then but the samanim are clear, you can start checking right there. So what's with Yener Shoichet? By Yener Shoichet, why does he need two corners? That's the kasha. Like Rashi, that the first corner is cutting through the or and the basar. The problem is who needs you don't need Aron Basa to be by the neck. So you can say that the pshat is, yeah, we'll be matcha for now for Rashi that the pshat is, but that's what the Gemara taka in economy. In a case where you don't have Aron Basa, then taka in economy, even a Mesach won't be kosher. But we're talking about in a regular case. But okay, so the Gemara right. Fractic Gemara kasha. Ma'ishna mishnei ruchos. How come I need that should be two corners? Because shnei ruchos, meaning that there's two corners. The morsha kama machlish. The first one is machlish. Rashi calls machlish means it softens up. It cuts through the oren the basa or morsha basa or basa. And the second one, the second corner, by the time it comes, its pathway is cleared way. And it's baza, it's chaynik, it rips. Miruach hachas nami. Let's be worried about ruach hachas also. Why? Because chor for the sakina machlish, the beginning of the sakin cut through the machlish, softened up. In other words, it cut through the skin and the meat. And Moshe baza, and the second and the only corner that you have in this case, baza is gonna rip the simin. Actually, Gemara, the claim aresha the sakina. We're talking about in hachab b'mayaskinan. That it's that the morsha, this one morsha is only at the top head of the knife. So it's holding at the head of the knife. So I didn't. So the case is over here. It's the farm Bereshit Sakina. 1 second, let me show you the picture. The farm. 1 second. Oh, the farm Bereshit Sakina. Look at this. Farm Bereshit Sakina. Here's the picture. That look at this. It's mamish in the beginning of the Bereshit Sakina. It's Bereshit Sakina, so Mela, it's no problem. So Mela, what? So Mela, it's not gonna have softened it up. Frekti Marakasha. Good, but I'm gonna go back the other way. Soif, ki ozla machlusha, ki osa baza. 1 second, but when he's gonna go up and down. So when he comes, when he's gonna the rest of the knife, he's gonna soften it up, and then with the tip, he might rip it. We're talking about in a case where he did it one way and not the other way. So maybe we'll stop over here. Taka, I just want to explain this case that the pshat is the Gemara is saying that we're talking about like Rashi. This is the case that the pshat is if somebody has a knife that has a if somebody has a chalif, we'll see. If somebody has a chalif that has a very big pegima that he can't just file down by himself. We'll see. There's ways of filing it down, but if you can't file it out in Gansen, and the only eight is to you can file down one corner, and then and if it only goes one way, so even though it's eventually the ukitz is going to touch it, but since the ukitz is only doing it over here, and let's see if he has a picture here. Well, after the Gemara, 1 second. Let me see if there's another picture here. Where's the Ran? No. Okay, so that's this Gemara. That in this case it's going to be mutter. It's going to be mutter only in a case where he uses this and he only goes one way. He only goes one way, so Mamela it's no problem because he's not gonna go back and forth. He's only gonna go one way, so it's not gonna be a problem. That's how the Gemara is. That's what we were talking about in the Mesach Seches is mutter. Okay.